Wow, it's so interesting, and the color is so bright. Hey guys!
Hi, Jen. We are preparing for the final exam tomorrow.
Then, why is Betty reading a comic book and Annie swiping your tablet?
Come on, it's not a comic book, it's our textbook.
Textbook?
That's right, it has a lot of corresponding pictures, which enhance our imagination towards the workplace.
Besides, we can even connect to a learning website by scanning the QR code in the textbook.
Then, why are you using different textbooks?
Because we are conducting a study to understand the influence of textbook designs. So today our topic is
With colors inside, we bring textbooks to life.
a study on the influence of aesthetic textbooks on students' learning effectiveness.
Betty and I participated in a space aesthetic workshop that semester. We redecorated the library and it became the first choice for students to stay focused when reading. And we had a lot of imagination when thinking due to the layout in this corner.
Therefore, we associated this experience with our textbook, English Conversation in Workplace. It is compiled by our teachers. There's no picture and authentic context, so we quickly get bored. We would like to have more aesthetic elements in the textbook, so that students could immerse in it.
Therefore, the purpose of our study were to explore the requirements of aesthetic textbooks, compare aesthetic textbooks, and further analyze its influence on students' learning and their attitudes towards it. To achieve these purposes, we raised 3 research questions.
First, what are the features of aesthetic textbooks? Second, what is the influence of aesthetic textbooks towards students' learning effectiveness in English conversations in workplace? Third, what is the student's attitude towards the aesthetic textbook? We made use of what we have learned from different courses to make the whole project.
First of all, in Introduction to Business, we had the overall understanding of the business environment. Secondly, in arts, we analyzed the influence of aesthetic elements on learning. Third, in digital technology application, we learned how to shoot videos, set up websites, and analyze data.
We also apply the training of career interview we learned in career planning to the interview we conducted. What's more, in word process and practice, we have learned how to make our study well organized, and presentation practice enables us to know the structure of a project.
All of these courses help us stand here sharing with you today, and we use the following methods in this project: literature review, experiment research, questionnaire survey, and interview.
Through literature review, we learned that aesthetic textbooks are the access to students' acquisition of knowledge and also the main sources to get aesthetic experience. When students interact with the textbooks, they can get pleasant feelings during the process. Therefore, they could get positive feedback of learning effectiveness.
We then use static group comparison of pre-experimental designs. This is our design chart. There were 43 students in the experimental group and 36 students in the control group, which were students from the 2 classes in the applied English department.
The aesthetic textbook and tests were the instruments based on the literature we reviewed and the advice from the executive of the aesthetic cell, Ms. He, and the professor in NKNU, Dr. Lee. We turned the original textbook into an aesthetic one. We applied the 7 aesthetic elements to design the pictures and layouts, and we also divided the content into warm-up activities, vocabulary, dialogues, exercises, and extension activities.
The same teacher used the original textbook and aesthetic one to teach 2 groups for 6 weeks. 4 tests were taken during this period, including 2 pencil and paper tests and 1 role play, and 1 summative assessment involving group work to make short film. Lastly, we set up a learning website to help them self-learn.
Besides, in order to realize the students' attitudes toward different types of textbooks, a questionnaire was conducted. The questionnaire included 12 items divided into 5 dimensions: sensory ability, multiple intelligences, imagination, learning and judgment, and emergent ends.
Let's move on to the findings. As shown in Figure 1, The average scores of the 4 tests that the students in the experimental group got were higher than those of the control group. The difference of the average scores ranged from 6.8 to 25.7. The results could imply that with the aid of the SAT textbooks, students' overall English performances were enhanced more effectively.
Furthermore, the differences between the two groups' average scores are apparent in the third and fourth assessments, which were 14.5 and 25.7 respectively. It indicates that students in the experimental group acquire a higher level of cognitive abilities. Like Wilson in the experimental group said, he learned better and had the ability to make use of the learned knowledge into the authentic context.
In addition, we also found out the students' attitudes towards different textbook designs. First, in this table, we can see that 89.9% students in the experimental group thought that double-page spread and illustrations helped them get higher sensory ability about the workplace and knowledge, while only about 1/3 of the students in the control group agreed on this.
Let's move on to the next table. 80.5% of students in the experimental group thought that grown-up activities, exercises, and the QR code help them develop multiple intelligences, while the students in the control group having the same opinions only account for 27.5%.
In the third dimension, with the percentage of 83.7, students in the experimental group consider that extension activities give them chances to imagine possible solutions. However, only 28.8% of the students in the control group get positive feedback. Next, we will discuss the fourth dimension.
In this part, the most obvious difference, which was 63.4, was found. In the experimental group, 85.9% of the students agreed that the design of the textbook made them expect the following units and have the impulse to complete all the tasks.
In the interview, Amber from the experimental group showed her strong desire to read the textbook, since she felt like she was discovering new things instead of studying. Now, let's move on to our last dimension.
As shown in this table, with a percentage of 81.1, the students in the experimental group agreed that the aesthetic textbooks triggered their passion on English learning and art design career, while less than 1/3 of students in the control group agreed on this.
From the analysis above, students in the experimental group show higher agreement on their enhancement of the sensory ability, multiple intelligences, and imagination, which also explain why the students in the experimental group outperform in the 2 creative assessments.
The following are our conclusions. First, aesthetic textbooks should not only have the aesthetic elements, but also trigger students' learning motivation and aesthetic experiences.
Second, aesthetic textbook benefits students' acquisition of high-level cognition ability in English conversations in workplace.
Third, students agree that the aesthetic textbooks opens up their horizons and learning possibilities, giving them chances to explore more.
For all the findings we found and the conclusions we've made, we would like to provide the following suggestions. First, students should treasure the aesthetic experience in their life, since it benefits the acquisitions through widening imagination and critical thinking.
Second, teachers could have interdisciplinary cooperation with teachers from the art realm while co-editing the aesthetic textbooks.
Last but not least, with designing self-compiled textbook, teachers could put emphasis on both aesthetic elements and scaffolding instructions to better learning effectiveness.
If you want to learn more about our topic, these are our references.
Hey guys, I think we can share the outcome of our study with teachers in the teaching conference.
Oh, maybe we could have teacher-student cooperation in editing the aesthetic textbooks.
In this way, I believe I will be a really good English teacher in the future.
That's right! With colors inside, we really bring textbooks to life!